Yeah, I really like what you said about the messengers and the champions and the influencers. It especially in such a crowded space. I think in the last 10 years or so, SEO is the number one sort of channel for companies to gather traffic and leads. But over time, SEO becomes this commodity thing, and everyone is writing ultimate guides to X, and everyone's content is becoming very similar. It's just said in a different way. So the high quality content doesn't always get traffic, hence high quality content become less and less. But in the last year or so, was more AI coming in. On one hand, we know there a proliferation of AI content that's even lower quality. On the other, you see Google coming out with the March update on AI content. The very low quality content is gonna get punished and then go away. So I feel like a content in general is at this intersection, this crossroads. What do you see sort of content going? Do you see a combination of these like foundational ultimate guides type of content matched together with more insights-driven content, or do you see the insights-driven content becoming the mainstream over time?
It's a good question, and I would say that I don't think there's any one-size-fits-all model here. I think that there's a couple of key pillars that marketing teams should think about. One is, how are we going to get the alpha, right? How are we going to get the most interesting expert takes? That could come internally from people at your company. It could also come from working with other creators and influencers outside of your company. It can come from working with customers as well. But think first about how are we actually going to be differentiated in what we bring to market in terms of the information we're sharing? The other piece that's really core is, what is our point of view, right? Because if you're going to cut through the noise, it's just so noisy today. Like every market, I mean, look at B2B SaaS. Like there's so many crowded categories with everyone trying to compete for the same pool of customers with a very similar product. So what is your take on the industry, and how are you going to express that through all of the content that you're sharing? And it needs to be, I mean, if you're a startup that's going after incumbents, it's going to need to be a little bit spicy, probably, right? It might need to be a little bit controversial. You need to provide a fresh leading perspective, because that's what people are looking for, is who's going to lead us into the next 5-10 years of this space. And so that really has to come down. I think my personal belief is that really has to come from the founders and the core mission of the business and their thesis around why they're even trying to bring this product to market. The other piece is, when it comes to insights, I think using insights and data, in fact, I don't know why, but I had 2 workshops this week. I don't know why I scheduled them on the same week. I had one yesterday with a friend of mine from LinkedIn, who's a data scientist and economist, where we did a lot of data-driven, insights-driven content there. I think that utilizing first-party data that you can pull from your product is a way to get differentiation. Not everyone has that, right? Maybe your product doesn't have this sort of interesting data, or maybe it's just not in a state where you can use it. It's not structured in the right way. But I think it can be a game changer. And so that's one thing where you can, again, sort of lead the industry by providing data and insights that other people don't have. So one example of someone who's doing this really well is Kyle Poyer at OpenView. He's pulling survey data primarily and kind of pooling, I think, the portfolio. But he's just, he's someone that everybody looks to is okay, he's going to have the most, some of the most interesting data and most leading data on where startups are going, startup growth, et cetera. So I think that, I don't think you can be prescriptive necessarily and say, okay, here is the playbook, annual report plus insights plus experts. I think each company it's going to look different. You might you might do really well with a long form interview YouTube series, right? You might use that as your wedge and pillar and how you differentiate from your customers. I think it's about looking at your space, looking at what other competitors are doing, and finding a way to counter program against that and stand out.